Hey everybody, I'm Mike. I wanted to make another video. I promised eventually I'll do the nice camera and the nice settings, but I was just thinking about this. I'm about to run off to work, but in the last video I talked about building a style or having some sort of calling card to my photographs that would make them stand out and be different. And a lot of that comes from an amalgamation of different things, from some other artists that you like, photographers or videographers, directors. And they have little things that you like that you try it on, you see if it fits. And so there's a combo of a few different things that, as I've come across different creators and professionals, I've kind of like grabbed and even stole some ideas from. And I want to make a few videos, probably not in order, but this will be the first one of many of different philosophies that I've taken from other creatives and have applied, and they've gotten me further down the road. So the first one I want to talk about is, a few years ago, I went and shot with a guy named Adam Grumbo.
This is Mike. I'm beating him up, making him edit his own photos so I don't have to look at them.
They're not very good.
Definitely learning lots of stuff at the same time.
Oh yeah. Adam Grumbo is probably one of the hardest working people I've worked with, and we linked up together for about 2 weeks of 5-day shoots, and we went to LA and shot for nearly 5 days, and then we went to Austin and Texas and shot for nearly 5 days. And during that time I brought my camera kit, and at the time I had a 14 millimeter that I had rented. I owned a 35 millimeter, owned a 50 millimeter, owned a 24-70, and I had also rented a 135. So I show up, and the first thing he tells me is, we're not going to use the 35, we're not going to use the 50, and we're not going to use the 24-70. And how he explained it was, photographers, the first thing they do is they put on a focal length like a 35, which is basically your field of view if both eyes are open. I've read this somewhere. Or they put on a 50 millimeter, which is your field of view if you close one eye. And then they put the camera up to their face, eye level, and basically what they show is what you can see with your eyes. And so what he said was, I want you, this whole shoot, which I don't even know how many, if any, of the photos he actually used, but he said, on the shoot, I only want you to use the 14 millimeter, and I only want you to use the 135. So extremely wide angle or telephoto, but don't use anything mid-range that can be seen by the eyes. And he basically said, give the client something they can't see with their eyes. So eye level at a mid-range lens is just going to replicate what you basically see. So if you want to create super creative, interesting photos, use the lenses and get at angles that people don't usually do. And how I've kind of applied that moving into photography, even on my portraits, is I will shoot up on pretty much all of my headshots, which a lot of the times when people show up, they want you to make them look strong or powerful or professional. And even if they're a female, which I know a lot of female photographers will say, hey, shoot down on a woman, that's more flattering. But some of my favorite headshots that I've done of females is actually shooting up on them to give them this subtle look of power or dominance. And so I've tried to do that. The photo shoot that I broke my camera on when we were out there shooting the products, the first thing I said was, I want to give them something they can't see with their eyes. So I'm going to bring the camera down really low, or I want to do an aerial shot, or I want to go really wide angle, but I never want to give something that just is focal length. So I've applied that some of my favorite images. I've either shot lower than typical, or I added something to it, or even some of these wide angle photos are so neat and they add something that you can't see and it ends up making them more interesting. So I would encourage anybody, if you want to do better photo, you want to do better video, listen to what Adam had said and try to start by giving them something that they don't normally see with just looking through their eyes.